the wonderful musician. Once upon a time, in a large forest, far, far away, traveled a wonderful musician with his fiddle. He had walked for a long, long time, all by himself. One day, he wished he had some company for along the way. He sat down by a tree and played his fiddle. A big wolf came by right away. "I wish you could teach me to play like that," he said, but the musician didn't want the companion of a wolf. So they walked together for a while, and the first chance he had, he tricked the wolf into getting trapped inside an oak tree. Time went by, and the musician walked on. But he felt lonely once again, so he sat by a tree and played his fiddle. A fox heard his beautiful music and came by. But the musician didn't want the companion of a fox. So they walked along for quite a while. But the first chance he had, he tied the fox's hands to two bushes and left it there. He went on walking again, but got lonely very soon. He played his fiddle by the tree, hoping someone would stop by. And a hare did, but he didn't want the companion of a hare. So, as they walked by, he tricked it into tying itself up to a tree. He got lonely again and played his fiddle by the tree. And this time, a woodcutter heard his song and came by. The musician was happy, for it was a human and not a beast, and didn't notice that they had company coming by. See, in the meantime, the wolf had set himself free, and he'd done the same for the fox and the hare. But just as they were to attack the wonderful musician, the woodcutter held up his axe and stood right in between them. The animals ran away, for they were afraid, and they never came back. The musician played one more song for the woodcutter, then went along on his way.
There once was a baby duckling that was weird-looking. And where the other ducklings quacked, this little duckling honked. The other ducklings said he was ugly. This made the little duckling sad, and he walked away. He packed a suitcase and set out to be alone. He walked for miles and miles till he couldn't walk any more. So he sat down on his suitcase and rested, and a cat came up and looked hungrily at the duckling. The cat sniffed him and licked him. The cat then made a face and stuck out its tongue. "Yuck!" cried the cat. "I thought you were a tasty duckling, but you're just weird-looking and ugly. I'm not going to eat you." The duckling was sad, and he walked on with his suitcase. A dog trotted next to the duckling. The dog leaped on the duckling and swallowed it in one bite. "Yuck!" cried the dog. "I thought you were a tasty duckling, but you're just weird-looking and ugly. You taste horrible." The duckling was sad, and he walked on with his suitcase until he came to a lake. On the lake swam some beautiful swans, and they honked instead of quacked. And their beaks were small, like the ducklings, and their feet were big, like the ducklings. And when they saw the duckling, they shouted, "Look, a baby swan!" For the ugly duckling was not really an ugly duckling, but a beautiful swan. And he lived with the swans, happily ever after, being a swan.
The Steadfast Tin Soldier. There was once a little boy who was given a gift on his birthday. He opened the gift, and inside he saw 25 little men. "Tin soldiers!" the boy shouted. The tin soldiers were all brothers, and each of them had been made from the same tin spoon. They all looked exactly the same in their red and blue uniforms, except for one. One of the brothers had only one leg, but he was very special indeed. He always stood steadfast. The little boy lined all of his tin soldiers up next to his cardboard castle, ready to play with them. The tin soldier with one leg spotted a lady in the castle window. She was beautiful and had one leg lifted like a ballet dancer. The tin soldier thought she only had one leg, like him. "She will make a perfect wife for me," he thought. So he stood steadfast. That night, the little boy had put all his little soldiers with other toys. All the toys talked and had lots of fun, but the tin soldier stood steadfast. When the clock struck 12, the dancer held her arms out to him. The box next to the tin soldier popped, and out came Jack-in-the-Box. "Will you please stop staring at her?" he asked the tin soldier. The tin soldier pretended not to hear him, so Jack-in-the-Box threw the little tin soldier out of the window. Some time passed, and the tin soldier was found outside by two other little boys. They took him and built him a paper boat. They put him inside and placed him in the gutter, where the water dragged him away. "Oh no," thought the tin soldier as the water took him further away. "How will I ever get back?" The boat got faster and faster and soon began to break apart. The tin soldier was up to his neck in water, but still he stood steadfast. He was sure he would die, and suddenly a giant fish came and swallowed him whole. It was so dark inside, but he could feel the fish flapping about and something happening outside. Suddenly, light flooded in, and he found himself back at home. The fish had been caught by the little boy's father and brought back for dinner. The tin soldier was carried to the boy's bedroom, and there he saw the little dancer once again. Just as he thought he was safe, another child picked him up and threw him in the oven. He looked at the little dancer and smiled with love. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, and the dancer got carried into the oven and fell next to the soldier. And the child closed the oven door. When the maid opened the oven the next day, she found that the soldier and the dancer had melted and left behind a little tin heart.